We use Wi-Fi every single day, right? We see that little lock icon, and we just trust it to keep us safe. But what if I told you that security has some pretty serious hidden cracks? Today, we're diving deep into the surprising vulnerabilities in the Wi-Fi networks we all rely on for, well, everything.
I mean, think about it. You're at a coffee shop, your university, maybe the office. You see that familiar network name pop up. You click connect, and boom, you're online. But how can you be absolutely 100% sure you've connected to the real network and not some imposter just waiting to scoop up your data? That question right there is at the very heart of our story today.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to start with the systems that are designed for big organizations, the ones we assume are basically digital fortresses. We're talking about the kind of Wi-Fi you use at a university or a huge corporation. It's often called enterprise Wi-Fi. And right out of the gate, here's a stunner. A study from Boston University took a hard look at these supposedly high-security enterprise networks at major U.S. universities. What they found was that a staggering 77.8% of them were likely vulnerable to some pretty severe attacks. That's almost 4 out of every 5. So what on earth is going on here?
Well, this vulnerability is hiding inside a standard called WPA Enterprise. Now, unlike your Wi-Fi at home where everybody just shares one password, this system is supposed to be way more secure because it makes every single person use their own unique username and password. But as it turns out, there's a huge catch.
So how does this vulnerability actually get exploited? Well, the problem basically opens the door for a classic digital con game. It's called an impostor network attack, where a hacker can trick your device into talking to them instead of the real network, and you'd probably never even know what was happening. And what's really wild is how simple the core idea is. See, your phone or your laptop, it's really eager to connect to a network that it trusts. So an attacker can just set up a fake network with the exact same name, and if your device isn't configured to be a little bit skeptical, it can easily get lured right into this trap. Okay, so here's how the heist goes down. It's a classic man-in-the-middle attack. First, the attacker broadcasts a rogue Wi-Fi signal with the same name as, let's say, university_Wi-Fi. Second, your device tries to connect, but it completely fails to do a proper ID check on the network server. And third, this is the scary part, your device just hands over your username and a scrambled version of your password directly to the attacker. And believe it or not, this massive vulnerability often boils down to something as ridiculously simple as this. This, right here, is a typical configuration window for these networks. You see that box near the top? The one that says Validate Server Certificate? If that little box is unchecked or it's not configured the right way, you're basically telling your device, hey, don't even bother checking the ID of the network you're connecting to. It is literally the digital equivalent of leaving your front door wide open. And this brings us right back to that shocking number. The researchers from Boston University concluded that, nearly 78% of the university networks they looked at were vulnerable because of these simple misconfigurations. It's not that the security protocol itself is broken, it's that it's being implemented incorrectly on a massive, massive scale.
So that's a pretty big problem, right? Naturally, the industry got to work on a solution. The next generation of Wi-Fi security, called WPA3, was created to fix these exact kinds of issues and protect us from password cracking attacks. It was meant to be, well, a new hope for secure wireless.
One of the biggest promises of WPA3 was its muscle against password cracking. With the older standard, WPA2, if an attacker captured that initial connection handshake, they could just take it offline and keep guessing your password over and over until they broke it. WPA3 was specifically designed to make that kind of attack totally impossible. The secret sauce at its core is a new technology called the Dragonfly handshake. You can think of it like a cryptographic machine that takes your potentially simple password and just turns it into a super strong one-time use key. This was supposed to be the core defense, the hero of our story.
But you probably know where this is going, right? In the world of cybersecurity, the story almost never ends there. Just when we thought we were safe, researchers found a whole new set of flaws. Not in the implementation this time, but in the very design of WPA3 itself. And they gave it a fittingly dramatic name, Dragonblood. That's right. The one thing that was supposed to be our salvation, the Dragonfly handshake, was found to be vulnerable. And this was a huge deal because it meant the brand new, top-of-the-line security standard had serious problems right out of the gate. And it wasn't just one little flaw. The Dragonblood vulnerabilities were a whole family of attacks. You had downgrade attacks that could trick a new WPA3 device into using the older, weaker protocol. You had denial of service attacks. And then, most subtly, you had side channel attacks, which are just fascinatingly clever. So let's break this down, because a side channel attack is brilliant. Instead of trying to smash through the front door with brute force, it's more like a spy listening for tiny, unintentional clues. The analogy here is perfect. You're not blowing open the safe. You're just listening to the faint clicks of the tumblers to figure out the combination. And this right here shows that this isn't just a theory. This graph is from the research paper, and it shows the actual clicks the attackers were listening for. By sending password guesses and measuring the exact time a device took to respond, we're talking milliseconds. They could see these distinct patterns. Each little cluster on this chart reveals how much work the device was doing, and that leaks information about the password it was testing.
So what does this all mean? Well, by gathering these tiny timing clues, an attacker can figure out which password guesses are definitely wrong. That lets them filter their list and focus their efforts, making password cracking incredibly efficient. The researchers figured out they could test a huge dictionary of passwords for, get this, less than $1 using cloud computing. It completely sidesteps WPA3's main defense.
So after all of this, from misconfigured enterprise networks to fundamental flaws in the newest standard, you have to ask the big question: is our Wi-Fi just fundamentally broken? Well, broken might be too strong a word, but here are the crucial takeaways. First, even the most modern security standards can have deep, unexpected flaws. Second, like we saw, one simple unchecked box can totally undermine a super complex system. It just goes to show that implementing security correctly is extremely difficult. And all of this proves that security isn't just some feature you add on, it's a continuous process of discovery and defense.
Now, the good news is that the researchers who discovered Dragonblood, they worked with the Wi-Fi Alliance to develop fixes, and patches were created. But this whole saga is just a powerful reminder of how incredibly hard it is to build truly secure systems. Every single tiny detail matters.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. Security isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a constant arms race between the people building the defenses and the people trying to tear them down. And after seeing how even the latest and greatest standard could stumble, you just have to wonder, in this race, are we really keeping up?